How's it going, Scrub Gamers? We're back with another video here at Scrub Games, and once again, we are here with the next installment of my Understanding How to Build series, where we go over all the leaders in a given set to help you understand how to build them to suit you and your playstyle. So for this one, we're going to go over the Anakin Skywalker leader, so if you're interested, stay tuned, and also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep updated with my channel. Also remember that you can click the notification bell to get alerts for when my videos do drop, so that way you can watch them then and there, or at a later time that benefits you. Now that all out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in and help you understand how to build Anakin Skywalker. So first things first, we're going to start off with the leader, as Star Wars Unlimited is a leader-based game, meaning you can't really play without one, and they are what you're going to build your deck around. It's always best to understand what the leader does and how it functions before you start building your deck around it, because some are generic and some aren't so generic. So for this one, we're going to go over the Anakin Skywalker leader. So Anakin Skywalker, what it takes to win is a aggression and heroism leader, so you get the red and white aspects. You also get the traits of Force, Jedi, and Republic, all pretty nice ones. You get some benefits, like good benefits from Force. You get some more new benefits from this set of Jedi, and also same with Republic. He also deploys not too late at 6 resources, which is pretty cool, and comes down with some solid stats at 4-7, and now those could even be boosted up as well. And when it comes to his effect, it differs on both sides, because sometimes you get leaders where they have the same effect in leader area and when deployed, but you get some leaders that change when they do deploy. So for Anakin, his effect while in the leader area is to basically, as an action, pay 2 and also tap him. So tap himself, deal 2 damage, not pay 2, but deal 2 damage to your own base. And now you can attack with a unit, and if it's attacking another unit, so the opposing unit, it gets 2+ power for that attack. So you basically deal 2 damage to your base to allow you to attack with a unit and be a little bit stronger, so you can potentially take out, swing with a unit, most likely going to go into units and get extra 2 power and take out something. That basically means that your smaller units that have a little bit weaker power can take out bigger units with ease. You just have to do 2 damage to your base. Now you might be thinking, why would you want to deal 2 damage to your base? That doesn't seem that great, because you're basically just damaging yourself. Well, it helps you control your opponent's board and basically keep control of the game. And also it goes to helping with the leader when he deploys, because when he does deploy, he now comes down as a 4-7 unit, so pretty good stats. 4 power and 7 health is pretty nice. 7 health is a really good amount of health, nice and bulky, and 4 power is very good to basically actually cause some damage and maybe even take things out. It also comes down with Overwhelm as well, so he does piercing. That's what Overwhelm basically means, just is piercing. So when you attack into a unit, if the damage you're doing to that unit exceeds that unit's health, any excess damage is dealt to the base instead, so essentially piercing. It also has a new effect now where this unit gains extra 1 power for every 5 damage in your base. So all that damage you might have been doing from your own base, or your opponent's doing to your base, through effects or just attacking, powers up Anakin when he deploys. So like if you're playing a 30 health base, you can potentially make him a 9 power unit, which is going to hit hard when it goes to your opponent's base. So this is a pretty cool leader, a pretty nice one, and it's one that actually I do see being quite competitive for this set, because you can do some nice board control, and then when it comes to late game or mid-range point of the game, when you can actually deploy Anakin, he's going to start hitting hard, and maybe there's even like ways you can get him to do like tons of damage when he deploys as well with certain cards. Now do remember that every leader has a showcase set free as well, and this is Anakin Skywalker's one, so pretty cool. You got that like classic look at his scar kind of thing, like a good look at his scar, and basically like a close-up of his face, like in the same pose as well, and it's pretty nice. Like remember as well, with showcases, they are just different arts, so with art, it's all subjective. Like you can either if you like it, it's fair enough. If you hate it, it's fair enough. The only opinion that really matters when it comes to like showcases and different arts is yours, because you're the one who's going to be using them. So this one I reckon is a pretty cool one, and it'll be a nice one to own. Like it's not a leader I really want to go ahead and try and get the showcase for, but if I did have it, I would like it. So now with that out of the way, with the leader covering the leader out of the way, we're going to go into some of the basics of the game. So for any brand new players, they can have as much help as possible to help them build the deck. But if you feel like you don't need that, or you're a veteran player and don't really need this basic information, then you can go ahead and skip that by using the timestamps below in the video description to skip to any parts you're after, and they're all noted for ease of reference. So if you want to skip ahead, then go ahead and use them. For now, we're going to go into the basic info to help those newer players. So, along with your leader, you also have bases, because this is a never mandatory piece that you need along with your leader, as it's part of how you win or lose the game, and also provides you with your other aspects for playing, because you get 2 from your leader and 1 from your base. Now, currently as a set free, there's only 2 types of bases. You have the rare bases, the one on the, which is the example on the left, and they have a lower health total, so lower health on the base, but they compensate for that by having an effect. So it could be an epic action, an action you can take once a game. A continuous effect is always an effect, or like in the example here, an effect that triggers at a specific point in the game. But then if you feel like you don't really need those effects or don't want the lower health, you can go for one of the common bases. Now with the common bases, they're all the same currently as a set free, and the only difference is their name, aspect, location, and art. And currently, as a set free, there's no benefits of having certain name or location on a base. So essentially, for the common bases, you just pick your favorite art out of the ones that aspect you want and play using those. So easy enough. So we're just going to go into a bit more of a detail about some of the bases. So we got the rare bases here. So we currently have 8 bases as a set free in the game. We have the top row being from the first set, so the first lot of rare bases we got. We didn't get any in set 2, so we had to skip for that. And in set 3, we got never a lot of rare bases being the ones at the bottom. Now the ones from set 1 were the more competitive focus of the bases, so they're all 25 health and don't affect leaders. And then we got the second lot for set 3, which is the bottom row, and those are more focused for Twin Suns than standard format. And I say that because they all have an interaction which involves the leader in some way. And in Twin Suns, you get 2 leaders in that format. So, of course, you get more benefits from that format than the standard format for those bases. So for the set 1 ones, 25 health, all along the board, so they're all the same health. And they also have effects that are don't affect leaders, and all epic actions, so they require an action to be able to trigger. Now, they do vary in usefulness. Like you get the green one being Entry Version Lab being one of the most overused one because it can give a player unit with ambush, which is a very strong keyword. And then you've got Jealousy, which is one that's barely used because it's just not that great. But also they all seem to play at some point, just it varies between them, but they're all pretty nice ones. They just do take up an action to trigger their effect. Now with the second lot at the bottom, they have varying healths. So we have Pal City and Petroglyph Arena. These are both the highest health of the rare bases at 26. Also have continuous effects that affect a leader when you have it controlled, and they basically just give a stat boost. So the blue one will give you extra 1 health to your leader when he's out, and also the yellow one will give you an extra 1 power when the leader is out. So they're continuous effects and also the highest health, and you've got the other 2 being when you deploy a leader. Now you've got the green one, which is Destroy Manufactory, has the lowest health total in the game, being 24 at the moment, and it basically just creates 2 Battle tokens. Now this could be very handy because it helps with the 2 new keywords in set 3, being Exploit and Coordinate. Exploit being the more dark side oriented one, which is all about defeating your own units, so that way you can play out a unit cheaper by reducing it by 2 for every unit you defeat. Now the number of units you can defeat depends on the number on the exploit, but with 2 Battle tokens, that's 2 units you can potentially defeat, so you can cheapen something by up to 4 potentially. And then the other rare base we've got is Shadow Collector Camp, another one that triggers when deploy a leader, which is just to draw a card, and has the same health total as all the other ones for set 1 at 25 health. So this is pretty nice, but in this game, draw power isn't the end-all be-all. Like it might be in some games, it's not like a massive thing to be able to draw an extra card. It's just pretty nice. It depends if you want to have that as an option. So for the rare bases, those are your options. Now, if you feel like none of those, you don't want the lower health, and none of these effects kind of outweigh the lower health, you can just go ahead and play a 30 health base, a vanilla base. And like I said, all the vanilla bases are the same in terms of stats. They just have differences in name, location, and art, and aspects as well. So since there's nothing to benefit from those names or locations, you might as well just go with whatever your favorite art is for each of those aspects. And here are the ones that I prefer the art of when I come to playing for each aspect. So that's the base out of the way. Now let's go on to the next part of the basic information. And that is about the aspects, because in this game there are 6 aspects in total. So you can see them all on the screen here and also named as well with the proper name, but you can also name by the colors like some people do. Now there are the 4 proper color aspects, which are the ones that are on all leaders and bases and even most cards. They are Vigilance being the blue aspect, Command being the green aspect, Aggression being the red aspect, and Cunning being the yellow aspect. There are also two other aspects, like you see on the screen, that are ones that represent the light and dark side of the game, like the good side and the bad side, and they're on all leaders in the game. Also some cards as well, but not on bases. Now these are Villainy, being the black aspect, which stands for controlled destruction, features all the antagonists of the Star Wars universe. And then you got Heroism, which is on Anakin, being the white aspect, which stands for peace and justice, and features the protagonist of the Star Wars universe. Now these 6 aspects all have a specific style of play, so with the light and dark one, you got Heroism, which is more rebellious in its effects, making for an aggressive side of the game, where you got Villainy, being more destructive effects, making for a more controlling side of the game. Now you always have one of these 2 leaders, dark or light or dark, on your leaders, and with the other 4, they have a specific style of play. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over each of them so you can understand what the aspects want to do, so you can know if they're a good fit to you. So starting off with Vigilance being the blue one, this one is an aspect that allows you to play defensively, with the ability to either heal damage, remove units from play, and also protect your base from attacks. Now this is a perfect one for anybody who likes a patient playstyle to endure almost anything. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and play blue. Now for the green one command, this one is one that's all about ramp, because it wants to accelerate your resources, call upon lots of units or strengthen the ones you already have in play. And this is a perfect choice for anybody who likes to overwhelm their opponents with a massive board presence and just ramp up to play bigger things quickly. So that sounds like you, and this is something you like to do, and then go ahead and play command. Then next we got aggression, which is one of the aspects that Anakin has, what the color aspect he has. And now this is one that does sound like what the name suggests, but it's more aggression in not in terms of like style, but in terms of throwing out damage willy-nilly. Because this one allows you to attack with maximum efficiency and dish out tons of damage, and is a perfect fit for anybody who likes a fast-paced, fiery playstyle and likes to hurl victory, well, damage your opponent until you achieve victory at any cost. So if that sounds like a perfect suit for your player style, then go ahead and use that. It's already on Anakin. You can always go double for it. And then last we've got Cunning. So this is more of a jack of all trades one, because this one allows you to adapt to any situation on the fly with powerful and immediate effects, and have lots of tools for disrupting your opponent's game plan. And this is perfect for anybody who likes to respond to threats pretty quickly and have an answer for almost anything your opponent can throw at you. So if that sounds perfect for you, go ahead and try Cunning. So that is those like explanation of the aspects. And now with your leader and base together, they'll give you 3 aspects in total, because you get 2 from your leader, 1 from your base, and that'll make for these 4 different combinations you can have with Anakin. So if you go for a blue base, you will have white, red, and blue. If you go for a green base, you have white, red, and green. If you go for a red base, you'll have white and double red. And then lastly, if you have a yellow base, you'll have white, red, and yellow. So these are the 4 different aspect combinations, and we will get into what the benefits are for each of them, what you kind of have to offer from having that extra aspect or double aspect. But we're going to go over the last part of the aspects, which is the aspect penalty, which is a very important part. So with the aspect penalty, I've created this handy dandy guide to kind of better show what the how it works, rather than just explain it like I did in my previous series, because I improve on it every time. Now, in this game, you can play any card, put any card in your deck, but when it comes to actually playing the card, the aspect penalty can come to effect. Now, whenever you want to play a card and the aspects on the card don't match what's on your leader and or base, then you have to pay an extra 2 resources for each one that doesn't match. So, we got a leader base combo here as an example, being Anakin with a yellow base, so this will give us the white, red, and yellow aspect. And now, if we wanted to play a card that had all the aspects match what's on our leader base, for in this example, we pay nothing additional. We just pay for what the cost of the card. So all that the examples are showed in the top box, being cards you don't have to pay with this leader base combo. Cards you don't have to pay an extra 2 because all the aspect matches. Now, if on the card you want to play, you have only 1 aspect that doesn't match what's on your leader base, then you have to pay an additional 2 resources on top of the printed card's cost. So we got an example there in the second box. In the second box there, the middle box is the cards with this leader base combo. There's pay an extra 2 on top if you want to play one of those cards. Now also do remember that every aspect only gives you 1 of them. So every aspect only gives 1 of itself. So for example, if you wanted to play a card that's double red, then because you've got 1 red aspect on Anakin, that covers 1 of the red aspects. Because you don't have a second one with its leader base combo, you have to pay an extra 2 on top because you don't have that second red. So it mean that card will cost 2 more. I mean, if you want to play, say, Aggression, the event in double red event, if you want to play with this leader base combo, you have to pay 6 instead of 4 for it, because because you have to pay an extra 2 for that missing second red aspect. Now, if you want to play a card that has both aspects that don't match what's on your leader base, you have to pay a whopping 4 extra resources on top of its cost, meaning that a card that would usually cost 3 resources now costs 7 because it's out of aspect, and that's a huge difference, so bear that in mind, and that's shown in the last box at the bottom. Also note that while the aspect penalty does make a card more costly if you want to play it out of aspect, sometimes a card is worth playing for that extra cost. So great examples are of the set 1 double aspect events, which are all named after their respective aspect, and they provide you with 4 different effects that you can pick any 2 of and resolve them however you want, but they're double aspect. Not everybody wants to play double aspect just to play those cards, so they might play them still in like dual aspect decks and pay an extra 2. So rather than paying 4 usually, they pay 6 for them. And that's because the effects are just that good that it's worth paying an extra 2 costs. And remember that while the aspect penalty is there, sometimes a card is worth playing because of its effect, even with the added cost. So that's covering the aspect penalty. Now, before we go on to and see what the benefits of each aspect combination are, we're going to have a look at the last bit of basic information. And that last bit of information is about the ratios. So we're going to look at we're going to look and talk about the ratios here, because like in all card games, you can put a certain number of cards in your deck for each copy of a card. Now, these vary between each game, but for Star Wars Unlimited, you can have up to 3 copies of any given card. And what we're going to do is kind of see what the benefits are to having 3, 2, or 1 copies of any given card. So, starting off with the 3 copies, this is the ratio that can help you maximize the likelihood the desired card will be in your hand when needed, and examples being cards to play on the first turn, or cards you want to see multiple copies of over the course of the game. So your example here is R2-D2, card from set 3. It's a pretty nice one because, as you see from the cost, being a 2 cost, you can play it as early as turn 1, and it's got pretty good stats and a nice effect as well. It can help you get that consistency of helping you find a card and kind of dig a little bit deeper to find something you're looking for. Now, you normally want to have 3 copies of cards of things you want to play on turn 1, or just basically really good cards at this. So hopefully this is a good example and helps you explain when you want to have 3 copies of a card. Now we go on to the 2 copies of card. Now this is usually the ratio for cards that aren't great to draw early in the game, but you still want to go through multiple copies over the course of the game. Now examples being boss cards or high costing cards, and Rival's Fall is my example I use in all the different videos now because it's just a great example. Because it's a high costing card, which you're not going to want early, but it's a very nice card because it can defeat any unit. Now usually when it comes to events that can defeat units, it's usually the lower the cost is, the more restrictive it is. If you want an example like Takedown, it's a 4 cost event, allows you to take out anything that's 5 or less, anything at all, but it's got to have 5 or less health. Now if a card's outside that range, you've got to either whittle it down so it's within range, or you just can't affect with it. So that's the restriction, I'm having a lower cost, but with Rivals 4 you can hit anything, even leaders, by paying 6 and defeating it. Now defeating leaders is something that's very rare in this game, there's not many cards that do, but the cards that do are normally more costly, but they're more costly because they're worth it, and it's not such a good thing. So that's 2 copies of a card. Now I bring to the last one, being 1 copy of a card. So this is usually the ratio for cards that are added to a deck specifically in order to count a specific situation or situation. Now, examples like this are being the card of Restock here, which you got on the screen, which added to decks to help counter our control decks. Now, what I mean by that is high control decks, kind of what is written on the tin, is that there are decks that focus solely on control in the game. Now, they won't focus about pushing damage, they focus on making sure they're always in control, and due to that, they won't be pushing damage, so they'll rely on the can't draw kind of damage, where if you've got no more cards in the deck to draw, anytime you would try to draw a card and can't, you take 3 damage for every card you can't draw. So during the regroup phase, when you have to draw 2 cards at the start or the end of the turn, if you can't draw one of those cards, you take 3 damage to your base. If you can't draw both, you take 6 damage. Now, hard control will get to that point where they force you to not be able to draw cards, so you start taking damage and win that way. Now, if you've got Restock in your deck, this allows you to put 4 cards from your discard pile to the bottom of your deck, and with how the game works, you can put Restock as one of those 4 cards back at the bottom of your deck so you can keep looping it over and over to kind of prevent that deck out damage. Now, that's to prevent hard control decks from using that way as a way to win by damage and have to work on a different route to kind of push some damage on your base to win the game. Because the only way you can win the game is by doing enough damage to your opponent's base that equals their health on their base. So, example, 30 health base, you do 30 damage, things like that. So hopefully that's helped you understand what with the ratios when you want 1 copy, 2 copies, or 3 copies of any card in your deck. And now we've got all that basic information out the way. Let's go ahead and look at what the benefits are of each aspect ratio. Well, not aspect combination. Now I like to start off with the double aspects because first, this is one that gives you a smaller card pool. So you get a much reduced card pool because rather than have a second aspect and have access to all those ones, you reduce yourself to having only red, but also have access to the double red cards, which are these 9 cards here as a set 3, without incurring a asset penalty, of course. Now back in set 1, this was only really viable for just one leader in any given aspect, but wasn't always necessarily the best way to play that leader. But now with set 3 giving us 3 sets in the game, we now have triple the amount of double red cards and also red cards in general. So now any leader can basically go about playing double aspect if they want and do it in a decent capacity. So with double red, this was the worst of the double aspects in the first set because it's just the free cards it had were not as good as the ever aspects had. And now you've got triple one, it's a better way to play, but is mainly got better with the last set, really. Because with the cards, you've got the first slot in the top left being the ones for set 1, being Soul Guerrero, Rallying Cry, and Aggression. These are more, not great, like Aggression being the best one out of them, given that it gives you four effects, but the options aren't as good as the other aspects. And the other two being Soul Guerrero and Rallying Cry, being quite either not great in the stats for what they do, or being too high costing or needing too much setup to trigger. Like Rallying Cry needing giving all your units raid 2 is very good, but if you can't set up a board by that, especially in double red, then you're not going to make as much use out of it. Whereas Soul Guerrero makes it so your opponent has to take 2 damage to their base anytime you want to play an event while he's on board. He's not got the best stats to kind of survive and not be removed. And also, not every deck plays a lot of events. Some decks might not play any events at all, and you'll have trouble against those ones. Now for set 2, I added some more, and some pretty nice ones. You have Bo-Katan Kreese, so these are the ones at the top right, being Bo-Katan Kreese, Wild Rancor, and Chaos of War. Bo-Katan Kreese being a very nice one, because it's a very solid unit you can play turn 1, with good stats to its cost, and a pretty nice effect that can potentially draw you a card depending on the damage on bases. And you got Wild Rancor being a high cost unit, but not the greatest in terms of stats and effect. Like it can hit 2 damage to everything in the ground arena when it's played, but it also does damage to your units as well, so you got to watch out for that. And the stats aren't really worth the going in double red, really. Then you got Chaos of War. This one could be a more damage focused event, but it relies on cards at hand. And this isn't a game where we have a load of cards at hand. You do have a fair few, but not as big as some other games might have. So it could do a lot of damage, or it could do very little. And then we got the ones for set 3 being the bottom row. Now you got Unlimited Power being a very high costed one that allows you to do 10 damage spread out, but is not a great one. It's too high costing to be that great, and isn't really the best card, and not one of the best cards. I think one of the legendaries for double red, but not the greatest. But then you've got Mr. Bones and Twice of the Pride, which have been really nice ones because they give you some really good stats and really nice effects. Like Mr. Bones being a never 1-cost free 1 unit, which you can put. So you can have this if you go for like a dark side, or even you can just have this as a nice cheap unit you can play out. That's got high power, very fragile, but then can threaten to be very aggressive, like the aspect suggests. Also, if you've got no cards to hand, when it swings, it's doing 3 damage to a ground unit, which is pretty nice. Then you got Twice the Pride being a very nice, very good upgrade. It's a 2-cost upgrade, so very cheap, but gives a whopping 4 power. Only downside is it does 2 damage to units played on. But if the unit's got grit, or already has a high power as well, and can take the damage from it, you could potentially put a big upgrade, like a big power boost on a unit, and then swing for a lot of damage, which could even be enough damage to finish off a game as well. So it's a very cool upgrade, and one of the nicer pools to play double red. Now you can play double red with Anakin, could be a nice way, because you could take damage and then just say hit hard. And but it's up to you if you want to go for it. If you feel like sacrificing a whole other aspect, it's worth having access to these 9 cards without the asset penalty. Before we move on to the other aspects, which that you can get from adding a base to your leader, we're going to go over what the kind of cards you get from Anakin's aspects, being the light side of aggression and normal side of aggression. So with aggression in the heroic side, you get a lot of good cards. You've got more good stuff in aggression on the light side than you do on the dark side, or just in general in aggression. And if you want to go for double red like before, you can go with these rare bases here, being Attacking Town and Shadow Collector Camp, either just to do an extra bit of damage to finish something off you just shy of defeating with damage, or draw a card when he's deployed. Now for heroic side, you've got some pretty nice units. You've got some like good units that cover all different costs. So you've got the cheap ones being the top lot, being like turn 1 plays like Green Soldier, A-Wing, Sabine, being nice aggressive ones hitting quite hard for damage, but not always hitting most when attacked into. You got Jesse and Cassian being nice ones that you play the turn after, with Jesse being very good for stats, but downside giving your opponent 2 battle droid tokens, so could help them with their coordinate skills, or even their exploit skills pay something bigger. Depends. But when it comes down, he's a free cost, so 4/4 you can play on turn 2, and also has raid ones when he's swinging for 5 instead. Very nice power. And you got Cassian, which solid stats for his cost, but also can be smuggled out for 5, and then when he's smuggled out, he comes in ready to attack straight away. Then for the more higher costing cards, you've got K2SO being a solid unit. 4 cost 4/4 with overwhelm, so it's got like piercing damage, and also when he's defeated, you can either deal 3 damage to your opponent's base, more aggressive, or discard a card from their hand, or make him discard a card from their hand to be more controlling with the hand control. Then you also got Wrecker and Mace Windu being nice high cost units. Wrecker, both coming with solid stats, but can having their kind of differences. Whereas Wrecker, he's got overwhelm, so he's got a piercing, but also can kill off one of your resources, so that way you can do 5 damage to your units, so kind of damaging and a big unit on board. And you got Mace Windu, which can come down, attack straight away, Vader level stats, and also when he defeats a unit, he restands, so you can attack again that same phase. Pretty nice there. You also got 4 calls, I believe, in as well, so if you go for a more heroic focused look for the game, you can go ahead and just basically have some damage dealing to your base. A very nice card because you fill the top 4 cards of your deck and deal damage to your opponent's base for each heroic card you find there. So if you focus on putting all heroics in your deck, you can guarantee almost 4 damage every time. And then you can rearrange the top of your deck how you like and discard any ones you don't want there as well. It's a pretty nice setup there. And then on the normal side of aggression, like I said, we don't got many great units, but you've got some nice ones that you can potentially won't normally play, but can get some benefits with Anakin. You got Katina Braggart here being a nice one, which gets more of a benefit with Anakin because it's a 1 cost, 0 free, so it doesn't have any power and free health, but it's got raid 2, so when it does attack, it's hit for damage. But when it's attacked into, it's going to do nothing back. But with Anakin, you can have it attack and have 2 more power if it's attacked to a unit, and raid 2, which means normally it's going to be swinging for 2 when it attacks. But with Anakin, it's swinging 4 into a unit to kind of take it out and survive a little bit easier and be a cheap 1-drop to play. You also have Reckless Gunslinger, which is a card you can smuggle in, so you can smuggle it for 5, or you just pay for 1 to play it. And when it's played, it does 1 damage to each base. It can help you by bringing out a cheap unit to attack with, or have out on board, and also deal damage to your base, so you can power up Anakin if need be. Help to get that last increment of 5 damage on base to power up Anakin by an extra 1 power. You also got some units like Wolf Fagfire, which offer some utility, like Wolf preventing healing on bases to prevent your opponent from healing their damage, so you can be more aggressive and not worry about them surviving by healing damage off base to survive a bit more. Because whenever he's played or attacks, he prevents healing from both players' bases. And the Saving Fangfire can come down and take out upgrades, and it was already a good unit that was basically played or sided in, allowing you to take out things like Darksaber or Boba's armor off units, and now, even with set 3, there's more upgrades, more options, more potential hits you can get with this as well. Also, aggression's some pretty nice events as well. You can protect use. If you've got Dare and Raid, allows you to do either got the utility there, either doing 2 damage to a base or to a unit, either finish something off, or do more damage to base to be more aggressive. You got Force Throw, which gets the benefit from any Force unit you control, and since Anakin is a Force unit, when you deploy him, you get the full benefit of Force Throw, because it allows you to make any player, you or your opponent, discard a card from the hand, and if you control a Force unit, you can do damage to a unit equal to the cost of that card. So you can either use it on your opponent to make them discard a card, but remember, because the person is used on chooses what card they discard, they can discard a low costing card so you won't do that much damage, or you can use it yourself to guarantee you can discard a card of a certain cost, so you can do enough damage to potentially take something out. Your option and your choice. But then we got the Open Fire and Pillage being nice events, with Open Fire allowing you to do 4 damage to a unit for 3 resources, and Pillage for 4, allowing you to make your opponent, because you're not going to choose yourself, discard 2 cards from hand, go for some nice hand control. So that's the card you get from Anakin, so all the nice benefits there, you get some pretty nice ones, and also you got these bases here, being some of the nice looking 30 health bases you can have with Anakin. So now we're going to look at what kind of whatever benefits of each aspect you get from adding a base. So we're going to start off with Vigilance. Vigilance is quite a nice one because it's one of the aspects that has a lot of restore, meaning that when the unit attacks, it heals damage off your base equal to the number on restore. And the nice thing about this is with Anakin's effect dealing damage to your base to attack with a unit, and potentially if you go into another unit you get 2 more power, you can essentially swing with something that's got restore, like Yoda here, or restore 2. So you do 2 damage to your base, attack with Yoda, so you swing at a unit for 4 instead of 2, and also healing that 2 damage off your base thanks to restore 2. So you get nice benefits, nice combination with Anakin. So it could be a pretty nice one to go for it, to help mitigate that damage doing to your base with Anakin's effect, then still get that benefit in but not have the downside. You also have your rare bases here, being Security Complex and Pal City, being options that kind of either give a boost to your Anakin, making him a 4-8 instead of 4-7 with Pal City, or Security Complex allowing you to give a shield to a unit once a game. So these could be pretty nice, and considering that blue has a lot of healing from your base, you can potentially play this and not worry about the low health by mitigating that with the healing in blue. Now here you've got some pretty nice units. You've got mostly Force units here for the good side, and with Vigilance, there's better units in the light and dark sides rather than just the normal side of Vigilance. So you've got things like Barriss Offee and Restored Arc as your turn 1 plays. Barriss Offee being a very weak but one costing 1/1 Force unit, emphasis on the Force, because the unit you can allow to have the full benefit of Force Throw as early as turn 1, which is pretty nice. You don't worry about the arrest effect, but it's just a 1-cost Force unit, that's the benefit there. And Restored Arc being a nice base unit that can heal 1 damage off base whenever it attacks. You then got Yoda as well for like a turn 2 play, being a 3-cost 2/4, having all the benefits of Restore 2, so if you use Anakin's effect on him, he's going to heal that damage off your base that you use for Anakin's effect, pretty nice there. And if Yoda is defeated, you can choose any number player, mainly yourself, and make you draw a card. So replace himself, it's really cool there. You also got later game, the bigger cost cards like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker being really nice. Obi-Wan being a nice Sentinel that when he's defeated can give a 2 experience to another unit, and also if it's a Force unit you get that experience too. You draw a card. And Luke Skywalker being the big boss card of the heroic side of blue, coming down at a solid 6/7 for 7 costs, having Restore 3, so healing 3 off your base when it attacks. And when it's played, you can reduce something by 3/3 for the turn. And if something was defeated of yours this phase, you up that to 6/6 instead. You also got some error benefits in like upgrades and events by like having Jedi Lightsaber. More Force benefits by giving a 3/3 boost to unit for a cost of 3. And if it's a Force unit is attached to you, when it attacks, it reduces the unit is attacking's attack and health by 2/2. Pretty nice there. And you got some nice events as well, like Hello There, being a nice little trick where you can choose a unit that was played this phase and give it -4/4 to its stats, kind of reducing so it dies, or make it a lot weaker so you can take it out easily. And then you got Forces with me allowing you to baseline give 2 experience to a unit and attack with it. But if you control a Force unit, you also get to add a shield to that unit as well. So nice little benefits there. So a lot of good stuff in the heroic side of blue. And in the normal side of blue, you got some cool stuff as well. Like you got some more Force units, like Daughter of Dathomir and Ki-Adi-Mundi, being nice Force units with pretty decent stats for their cost, and also some benefits like Daughter of Dathomir has Restore 2 when she has no damage on her, and Ki-Adi-Mundi, if you've got 2 other units alongside him on board, he allows you to draw 2 cards whenever your opponent plays that second card of theirs in a phase. You also got some very nice upgrades in like Devotion and Perilous Position, like Devotion being a nice one, a 2-cost upgrade. It gives 1/1 to boost their stats, but also gives the unit Restore 2. So if you put this on a unit you want to attack with using Anakin's effect, that Restore 2 is going to heal that 2 damage you're paying for Anakin's effect straight off your base. And then you got Perilous Position being a nice little upgrade that allows you to, when attached, exhaust that unit. And for the first time in the game, give minus stats to a unit on upgrade by giving that unit -2/2 so you can weaken something. And it's a good one to throw on your opponent's leaders. When as soon as they deploy, chuck this on them so it's exhausted so they can't attack with them, and their stats are reduced so you can take them out a little bit easier. You also got some nice events as well, like you've got Covert Strength and Binders of Things that do a bit of healing, because they allow you to heal damage off a unit and get benefits in different ways. Like Covert Strength is one that you can smuggle in, so you can smuggle it in later on if you want to, and it heals 2 damage from a unit and it gives it experience, so technically healing 3 damage off it and making the unit stronger. And you got binds or things, I need to heal 3 damage off a unit, and if you control a force unit, you get to then deal that much damage you healed to another unit as well. So you can get, essentially, you can heal up to 3 damage, exchange that to a different unit if you got a force unit on board. So that's pretty cool. And then you got the removal events like take down a fellow dragon, offer you some instant removal if you want to. So Vigilance is a very nice way to play Anakin, and it's one of the probably better ways to play him as well, given that you got Restore and being able to heal damage off base, and you've got a lot of continuous, like nice Force stuff that's focused, which is good since Anakin is a Force leader, and some pretty cool cards. So that is Vigilance. Next we have Command, and Command still has some pretty nice things. Also has Ramp as well, so you can deploy Anakin as soon as possible. And he's got some nice rare bases, like your Energy Furious Lab being a nice one to play a unit with Ambush. Still got to pay the cost though of that unit. And you got Droid Manufactory helping this up coordinate, but since Anakin doesn't require coordinate for his skills, then it's not really worth playing to have that lowest health. But you've got some nice units in the heroic side, like you've got the top row being the more early turn units, like Maz Kanata, which gets bigger and bigger the more units you play after she's on board. Republic Tactical Officer being the Republic's like attack booster, allowing you to attack with a unit that's a Republic unit and give it 2+ more power for that attack. So nice little benefit there. And you got some solid units like Battlefield Marine and Admiral Akbar, like Battlefield Marine being a very good stat unit to play early, and Admiral Akbar allow you to deal damage, more damage depending on how many units you got in play. So more units you got in play in that arena, more damage you do. And also obviously Restore 1 and some solid stats. Because you got the nice thing about Anakin's effect is you want to have units with a good amount of bulk, so that way you can get the benefits of the attack and then still survive that attack on your opponent's units as well. Then you got some bigger units like Bright Hope, Ayla Secura, and Home 1 being the bigger units, offering some nice effects like Bright Hope being a Sentinel in space that also can bounce back one of those damaged ground units back to your hand to draw a card and have it so you can play them again. Ada being a nice big unit, a 5-cost 6/5, which if you've got 2 other units alongside her on board, allows her to attack and not take any damage from that attack due to her effect. Then you got Home 1 being the biggest kind of space unit you can play for the heroic side of green, and it comes down with Restore 2, so a way to like heal your base as well, keep your base healthy, and also while he's on board, gives all your other units Restore 1 as well, so they're attacking, you need 1 from your base when they attack. Also, when it's played, you get to play a heroic unit from your discard and have its cost reduced by 3. So if it costs 3 or less, you play it for absolutely free. But if it's a higher cost, you reduce the cost, so at least it's a little bit cheaper to play out. And then you got U-Wing Reinforcement, a nice way to like spam out a wide board from the top of your deck, but look at the top 10 cards and bringing out up to 3 units that with a combined cost of 7. So either one big 7-cost unit or a load of small units together, which is pretty cool. Then in the non-heroic side of green, you've got some really nice units in command. You've got Frontline Child being a very nice one for when Anakin deploys. Because when he comes down, he gets stronger depending on the damage you got on base. If you've got a lot of damage on your base, he's a lot stronger, and he has Overwhelm as well, so he does Piercing, meaning you can attack 3 units and still do damage base. So you can potentially deploy Anakin, swing a load of damage to their base with Anakin, and then play with Frontline Shuttle, use its effect, pop itself, and attack with Anakin again, but can't attack bases, but you can still attack 3 units. And considering that he's got Piercing, he's attack for a unit and do Piercing potentially to finish off more damage on the base, maybe end the game for that. So very, very nice combo with Anakin. You also got other nice cheap units like Colonel Yularen, Cobb Vamp, 500 First Liberator, and Hu Yang, being nice units you play early as well, like Colonel Yularen healing a damage on your base for every command unit you play and counting himself. Cobb Vamp being a nice unit that kind of keeps the unit in place. If you use him, bring him out, and then use him with Anakin's effect, when he's taken out or crashes with by attacking, you can replace him by playing something from the top 10 cards of your deck, by discarding it and then play it out for free later on in that turn. You got 500 First Liberator, which when it's played, if you control another Republic unit, you can heal 3 damage to your base to keep your base healthy. And you got Hu Yang, which when it comes down, you can choose any of your friendly units, and while Hu Yang is in play, the chosen unit gets an extra 2/2 boost to its stats. So if you get that to a Sentinel, you can keep Sentinel stay strong as long as Hu Yang's protected by a Sentinel. You also got some nice upgrades and events like General's Blade, being a nice boost, like same like Jedi Lightsaber, a free cost of upgrade that gives a free boost, but focuses more on the Jedi trait, which Anakin also is. And so when a Jedi unit with this attacks, it reduces the next unit it wants to play by 2 for the turn. So that's pretty cool. And you got some nice upgrades, nice events like Resupply being a ramp card that help you deploy Anakin faster and like rapid resources. And timely intervention allow you to play more play things with ambush as long as you want to pay one more than its cost. So that's command. That's a very good way to play Luke Skywalker as well. So you can go ahead and try that. Very nice way to play. And then we've got the last of the aspects being cunning, which is also a very nice way to play Anakin. And with this one, you've got some pretty nice units in the heroic side of cunning. You have these rare bases as well, which Petronac Arena could help make Anakin do a lot more damage, but you got low health, and Jealousy is just not really worth playing. But Petronac Arenas could be helpful because it gives a boost to Anakin, and it's just outside of the 25 health range. So if you can take 25 health, you get the maximum attack buff on Anakin, but you're so close to death, but that could be enough to help Anakin then get a boost, because Anakin with 25 health in your base becomes a 9 power unit, and with an extra 1 from Petronac Arena, he's then a 10 power unit, so it means you could potentially do a third of a common health base in one swing, which could be really strong. Now, for units, you've got a load of good units, good heroic ones. You've got the early turn ones like Chopper, R2D2, L337, and Ahsoka. Be nice ones, cheap units that all have some benefits, and also are ones that have quite a good amount of health, or in L337's effect. In terms, it comes down with a shield, so it's protected for that swing. And these are ones you can use Anakin to attack, still survive that attack, and then take out a unit even if it's stronger than got a lot of health. And you've got Millennium Falcon being the one you can play and attack the same turn because it comes in active, so it can attack straight away. But if you want to keep it on board, you've got to tap a resource every time you end your turn to keep a resource tapped down, so that way you can either bounce it back to hand and not pay that tap a unit resource, or tap a resource to keep it on board. So it's kind of depends what you want. And then you've got the bigger units like Plo Koon and Han Solo, both units that can come out ambush, different costs. But Plo Koon getting more benefit if you've got 2 other units on play when he comes down, because he only gets raid free, meaning you can swing for 6. Whereas Han Solo comes down and shoots first when he does attack. So if he takes out a unit, damages the unit, takes out a unit before with that attack, it won't take any damage back because he shoots first. Then you've got Spark Rebellion, be a nice way to kind of look at your opponent's hand, rip something out, and kind of have that hand knowledge and take away something that it might use against you that you didn't want it to. It's pretty nice like that. And then in the non-cunning side, non-heroic side of cunning, you got these units. You might notice I got Hotshot Blaster. This is because this is a card that gets more benefit when you got cunning as an aspect rather than being red. Because if you play cunning, you can smuggle it out, which is better. It does cost more, but when you smuggle it out, you get to attack with the unit the same turn you equip it as well. So you get 2 actions within one. Whereas if you just want to play it with red, it's going to cost you 2 actions to equip it and then attack with it. Whereas by smuggling it out, you get to do both those actions in one, which is good efficiency. You've also got some nice units as well, like Greedo, Crafty Smuggler, and Favorable Delegate, being nice ones to kind of play out. Like Greedo being a very cheap one with good stats, even a bit fragile. Crafty Smuggler being just like L337, where it comes down, same stats, has a shield, and you can use it to attack with Anakin's effect, and then, as well as that, survive the attack. And you've got Favorable Delegate, which allows you to come down, draw a card, has a good amount of bulk, so you can use it with Anakin's effect and he'll survive. But then when he's defeated, you do discard a card, but you don't have to worry about that until later. Then you've got some nice upgrading events like Jetpack as well, being a good one, allowing you to give a power boost to a unit and give it a temporary shield, either to make it so it's then surviving with a power boost to attack your opponent's base, or can crash into opponent's units and survive because the shield gets removed instead. You also got some good units like Sneak Attack, allowing you to play a unit out inactive, a little bit cheaper, like 1 cost cheaper, but then it dies at the end of the turn. And you got Surprise Strike, allowing you to attack with a unit, to give it a power boost of 3 for that attack. And now there are 2 of them, being a nice one that can partner with some units like Favorable Delegate to play out a higher cost unit for cheaper. So if you've got only 1 unit in play, you can use this to play a unit that has the same trait as the one you have on board. A little bit cheaper by 5 less, so essentially you're paying for 2 less than its total cost to play out. Using that as well. It's a very nice card, one of the big benefits that Cunning got from set 3, and one that's going to be, seems to be stuck into almost every deck that's got Cunning in it as well. So Cunning is also a really good way to play, and pretty nice one to play, so like, looks of it, every aspect is really good to play with Anakin. And then lastly, that brings us to the Heroism cards. So there are cards that are just Heroism, and just Villainy as well. And for the Heroism cards, there wasn't too many, because for set 1, most of the ones from there revolve around rebels, and since Anakin's from the Clone Wars era, when they're the Republic and not the Rebellion, there's no benefits to having there's nothing that really has the rebel trait in Anakin that you can benefit from that. And for set 2, it was all replaced with different things, more underworlds, had more Wookiees and everything, so there wasn't much to gain on apart from tech. Whereas from set 1, you got the good use of R2D2 and C3PO, because they even got rebel trait, they're not focused on rebel, they just work well together. And then you've got set 3 had a lot more Republic stuff, but not much benefit that was great with Anakin. But there was like the ambushing trooper. But I thought rather than that one, a bigger benefit one would be Public Commando, because it's a unit that has a good amount of bulk but decent amount of power, and when you can make good use of Anakin's effect to attack at a unit with more power to take it out, but also survive the attack due to its bigger bulk. So these are some of the heroic units I feel like could be very useful for Anakin, and have some nice benefits with its effect. Now we're coming to the end of the video, and as well as this, I like to, like I said, I like to upgrade my videos whenever needed. And one thing that was asked quite frequently in my previous set series of this was what my preferred aspects would be, and I thought I might as well add it for the set 3 to kind of improve on it a bit. And for this set, I've decided at the end of every video to put what my preferred aspects would be if I were to play these leaders. So you kind of got a kind of clue of how I would play. And for Anakin, my preferred way to play would be with a blue base with Anakin, because you get benefits like Hello There being a nice little event, Jedi Lightsaber being a nice upgrade, and Yoda being a nice one, because you've got units that have Restore. So when you're using Anakin's effect to attack with a unit and make it stronger while clearing controlling the board, they have Restore, so they're healing the base for the damage that Anakin does to himself. And the other way I would want to play is Cunning, because you get some nice things that you get some solid units like R2D2. You get Now They're Good to Me to get some pretty cool units out, and you even got Surprise Strike to even swing for harder damage, and where you don't really heal and you kind of control the board and pushing damage, being very aggressive with yellow stuff that gives you a boost when you swing. Anakin then comes down and can swing for a ton of damage on its swing as well. That is, you can play every single version, like every single aspect combination of Anakin and do well, but these are what my preferred ones would be out there. Like I would want to play Command as well, but there's other leaders I would prefer to play Command with to get benefits like Anakin could. And then that brings us to the end of the video. So that is it. That is helping you understand how to build Anakin Skywalker. So hopefully that's all helped you in understanding how you're going to build it to suit you and your playstyle. And remember to like, comment, subscribe as well. Give me some feedback and let me know how I did or how it was helpful, or if there's anything I can improve upon. Always happy to take on criticism. And that is it. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one, which will be the last of the red leaders, being understand how to build Mace Windu. Bye for now.
Like a mouse.